Hi, my name's Nick Davies from Nick Davies Sports Psychology, and today I'm joined with a friend of mine, Alan Robinson, who is CEO of Coventry Bears. So thanks for joining us today, Alan.
Thanks, Nick.
I'd just like to ask you the first question. If you could just tell us a brief history about what you've accomplished as a player and as head of the Bears.
Well, I am originally from Northern Ireland. I came over to England in 1995, and I played a lot of rugby back in Ireland at school. But when I first came over here, I came to university in Coventry. Decided to do something different, really, and I gave rugby league a go. Things accelerated quite quickly for me in the sport. I was involved at Coventry Rugby Union as well for a while, but rugby league really sort of was my passion at the time, and I started to really enjoy it. I suppose under about 6 months or so, I got my first full international call up for Ireland.
Wow.
After that, I then captained the Great Britain University side. We travelled around, toured all around the world, and from there really the opportunity came up to set up an amateur club. At the time, myself and a number of students from the university would have been quite successful at university, so those opportunities arose. We approached the then chairman of Coventry Rugby Club, Keith Fairbrother, who'd played rugby league professionally with Lee, to set up a club. We basically started off with a bucket collection at the local Coventry Rugby game. We just fundraised like any other club would. We were quite lucky in some respects. It generated quite a bit of interest at the time. With a lot of players put themselves forward for the club. We played a high level of rugby union, and some of us then were playing a high level of the student game. So we rapidly became quite successful really as an amateur club.
And how long ago was that? When did that first start?
So that was, we first formed the club in 1998.
Wow.
So only 3 years really later than I took up the sport. 2 years after that, I signed professionally and played at the elite level in France. I played for Limoux in France, who were the nicknamed the Grizzlies actually, so it was quite a tie-in with Coventry, and we called the club Coventry Bears because of the link with Warwickshire. There was no other club really since then that's been the Bears within rugby league in this country, so after the success we had as an amateur club, we built ourselves a good reputation, and I suppose over the next 13 years we've achieved about 15 sort of major trophies and titles in the amateur game, and then we had an opportunity in 2013. The RFL discussed expanding the game. I always had it at the back of my mind really that because we'd achieved a lot in the amateur game outside the heartlands of rugby league, that we sort of wanted to strive for bigger and better, and we had the opportunity in 2011. I turned the club into a business, and we entered the National Conference League. We're the only club really in the south that entered the National Conference League at that time. We played in the National Conference for 4 years, and then had the opportunity to step up into the professional ranks of League One, which is just 2 divisions below Super League. So
wow,
quite a journey.
Yeah. And as part of the, you have a kind of an ethos for the club as well, don't you? A kind of a set of rules that you apply to.
I think over the last, next year it'll be 20 years of the club really. So we've had a bit of a refocus on what we want to leave as a legacy for the club, and we've always had a clear vision of what have a vision is one of our sort of mantras, if you will. We've always had a very clear vision to be successful and set goals regularly, and made time for that, and really focused on that and refocused all the time on what we wanted to achieve. There's a number of other things really that we see as has led, I suppose, to our success that we've put down on paper and really focused on, and a number of other things like having belief, not focusing on negativity. Don't listen to the naysayers. You always have people that try and put us down or.
Well, can I just pick up on that? The next question was, because obviously I know from the outside, seeing what you've achieved and everything else has not always been plain sailing. So for you, not just as a player, but as CEO and everything else with what you've achieved, how important is getting the mental game right?
It's massively important. I think initially, you've got to have a vision of what you're trying to succeed at, and what we've tried to succeed at. We've always refocused and thought, right, each year we've looked at the next year and thought, what do we want to achieve in that year? It might not be win championships, things like that. It might just be, let's get this right, or let's focus on that aspect of the club and do it really, really well. So we've always broken things down like that. We've always looked at how we can step forward in a positive way and focus on that. And then obviously it helps being very driven. And I mean, I've always been a very driven individual around the club. And then when it became a business, I suppose it heightened that drive for me to drive it to be successful. And but I think having that vision is key. There's always going to be sacrifices you need to make. I think a lot of people in sport struggle with that. They mentally, they want everything all at once. You've got to make sacrifices for yourself to be able to grow and learn. And you've got to be prepared to learn. I suppose that's something we've always really revisited. Is we had to refocus all the time on what we want to achieve.
Fantastic. So it brings me to the last question. So this is for those people watching the video out there. So they might be rugby league players or struggling in life or whatever sport they might be doing. Is what advice have you got for people who are really struggling or finding it hard right now? What would you say to them?
There's a couple of things, I suppose. I mean, obviously, I've just mentioned have a vision, have a goal for what you want to achieve. No matter how small it might be, and no matter how long it might take you to achieve that, you've got to look at it, plan it out. It might take you 5 years. It might take you 5 weeks. It might take you 5 days. But if you break it down like that, it's really good because then you can celebrate the successes. So you can, don't think about the negative things. Focus on the successes that you can achieve. And then build on that each time. Everyone's got different things they can do in life. You can spend time doing different things, but make time for the vision as well. So, I mean, I used to, when we were developing towards a professional club, I used to send emails at 1:30, 2 in the morning, and I'd be in a meeting 3 days later or 2 weeks later, and people would go, "Did you email me at 3 a.m?" And I'd be like, "Well, yeah, because I had work to do. I wanted to get it done, and I made time for it, and it was the only time I could make for it, but I made that time." So make time, I suppose, is another thing. Everyone has got excuses, and you think, well, I can't do this or I can't do that because, I've got to go and do something else. And it's like, well, that's fine. If that other thing is more of a priority to you, that's fine. But you're never going to achieve what you're going to achieve if you keep making, if you not prepared to make a sacrifice for it. The other thing that we as a club that we try and impress on players as well when they come into the club is, that takes zero talent. You don't need to be a talented individual to make time for something, set a goal, make sacrifices for it, and have belief in it.
Very true.
And I mean, belief, positive belief. You can look at all day at motivational speakers and what people say about positivity, but if you don't believe in what you're trying to do, you're not going to become positive because you're not going to be able to achieve it. You've got to believe in the vision, believe you can get to that goal, and then celebrate when you get it and just build on that.
Brilliant. So just to finish up, next year is the 20th year, I believe, for the Bears. Any messages for anyone who wants to come and support the club or wants to get involved?
Yeah, I mean, we're it's 20-year anniversary of the club. we're also going to celebrate some sort of recent history, I suppose, that we discovered about rugby league in the city, and that there was a club back actually here at the Butts Park Arena from 1910 to 1913.
Oh, wow.
There was a club for those 3 years. The then Northern Rugby Union, and World War I struck in 1914, and rugby league never really recovered in the city. Rugby Union then moved to Camden Road and became very successful. Rugby Union in the city is a massive heritage, and there's been players, almost I think 7 players back in the 70s that represented England all on the same team. So Rugby Union's been fantastic, but we want to, I suppose, revisit a lot of the heritage that we have in rugby league in Coventry. And 1998 to 2018, it's been 20 years, and we want to encourage former players to get back involved in the club. We want to find new volunteers. We're already doing a lot within the community and the schools, and what we're trying to build here, we're trying to build a legacy. And again, that's one of our mantras, really. We're trying to build a legacy that can last forever, and our hashtag is Forever Bears, and that's really the vision that we have, is that, then, now and forever. So back then, all these great things have happened, and we've had successes in the past, so we can celebrate that. Now is really important because it's what's happening now, and but then you can build a legacy for the future and forever with the community work that we're doing. So those 3 things really tie in, and we want people to get involved and really sort of feel part of the club and belong into the club.
And if they want to get in contact, have you got a website? Our
website's coventrybears.com. We're also on Twitter and Facebook. At Coventry Bears RL. We're really active on social media, and I'm also on social media as well at Coventry Bear. We're looking for businesses, people to network with in the city. We're starting to become a lot more known in the city now for what we're trying to do, because we also want to celebrate the heritage of Coventry in the city, and have more locally based players involved in the club. So that's really important to us, and we want the people of the city to know that as well.
Brilliant. Al, thanks a lot for your time. Thank you. Cheers.